What's going on, Falcons fans? Welcome on into a live edition of Falcons Today by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, running through a recent signing that just happened right before we went live. We're going to talk about some of the salary cap news out there, Kirk Cousins trade chatter buzz, if you will. ESPN dropped a 7-round mock draft, so we will check out who they picked for Atlanta. And then we're going to end the show by looking at a mailbag, so answering any questions that you guys have for me. Feel free to ask that during the show. So, really quickly, I like to let the audience build up a little bit. I know not everyone comes right on time. So, shout out your city for me in the chat. Let me know where you are tuning in from. I also just want to give a big special shout out to MLB TV. Fucking headset. And fuck MLB TV too. Sorry. This is driving me nuts. I'm having headset issues. It's like crackling, and I'm sorry for blowing out your eardrums. And MLB TV is just shit in the bed today. It is opening day. Infuriating. Yeah, this is worse. I would say this is worse than Twitter being down for day one of free. That was just like an hour max. I think it was like probably in total 2 hours over the entire 3 days of free agency. I cannot believe MLB TV is just no showing on their biggest day of the year. Knoxville's in the house. Mitchell, South Dakota. Kissimmee, Florida. Boise, Idaho. Cartersville. We've got Go Braves coming in from Tony. Angel is in South Texas. Micah is in Macon, Georgia. ZD Productions. This time there is some kicker news, and we are going to talk about it on today's show. Reed wants to ask this question. Throw it on screen. I want a little bit of a clarification by this. Do you mean like perfect?
More like...
Because obviously no one's perfect.
Yeah, no.
Do you have your final 4 teams remaining?
Yeah, like are you still in the running in whatever your bracket if you're either for money or you're still alive in terms of could win?
I still have my 2 teams that are going to be in the national championship alive. Duke and Michigan State, which is very chalky, but it's worked out so well.
Duke and Florida.
Yeah.
For me.
Another question I was going to ask is, what is your World Series prediction? But you know what? I don't feel like giving MLB any airtime. I'm mad at them. The ball's on them. Here's the thing that really pisses me off, too. It costs like $150 to get MLB TV. I get it for free because my fiance has T-Mobile, and there's like a week period where you can sign up for free with T-Mobile. So I can't even get a refund. Like, I get nothing. I would like a credit towards my free subscription, but it's BS. I'm going to have a heart attack. So, coming up on today's show, latest news and rumors surrounding Atlanta. There's a lot to discuss during this portion of the show. Then we're going to look at ESPN's 7-round mock draft, comb through all 5 selections the folks in Bristol made for Atlanta. And then finally, a mailbag. So use hashtag Falcons or Super Chat if you want to be a part of that mailbag. If you Super Chat, we guarantee your question gets on screen. If you go the hashtag Falcons route, not a problem. Producer Reed just picks his favorite questions, but you must. I'm very sorry for the headset. I'm trying not to move my head. I feel like a Russian doll. I just got to stay still. But I don't know. I feel like Red Panda. You seen her? I'm Red Panda right now, minus being paid. Yeah, just keeping the head still, all in the neck. But anyway, use hashtag Falcons and Reed picks questions out of the chat to throw on during the mailbag. We've got 127 people tuned in right now, 19 likes if you are pissed at MLB TV. I don't understand how Major League Baseball loves shooting themselves in the foot. What better day to have opening day than on the day of Sweet 16? You couldn't do it yesterday. Like, I know they always do it on Thursdays, or they typically do it on Thursdays, but still, they're just such idiots. And also, why do they not space the games out today? Why did they have to put all the games starting at like 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern? Why can't you have some at noon, some at 1? They put all of them in the afternoon so that those games are like going into the 9th-ish inning when all the Sweet 16 games tip off. Idiots. All right, ZD, I know. I need a new mic. For a little while, I wasn't sure if it was the headset or the cord. And we went to a different studio today to film this live show than where we usually film. And I can confirm it is the headset, which was kind of the suspicion all along. But I don't want to replace an expensive headset to discover, oh, wait, it was never the headset. It was a different cord that's much cheaper to replace. So that's where we're at right now. All right, 139 likes. Sorry, 139 people. We're at 28 likes. 2 more people like the video. We'll get to 30, and then we'll jump into our first segment. Willie M is in the chat. I've got Patrick Richardson tuning in from Memphis, Tennessee. I've always wanted to go to Memphis. I've never been to Memphis. I was planning to go for Barbecue Fest, and then good old Wuhan, China had to kick in and ruin that summer for us. So, yeah. Wuhan, China was like, no Barbecue Fest for you. Me and my buddy, roommates, went to Memphis, or he was from Memphis. We're going to go there. Nope. Okay, 38 likes.
The old vid.
Yeah, the old Coco got in the way of summer in Memphis, which I'm sure there are bigger problems, but still. That's my personal Fire Fest. Let's talk all about a kicker signing, salary cap news, and, believe it or not, Kirk Cousins update. Starting right now. The Falcons are bringing in some kicker competition. It is a German kicker named Lenny Craig. I don't speak German, but I feel like that's a pretty good stab at it. And I actually saw a video of him kicking yesterday, and then today the Falcons went out and signed him. So, some Wikipedia research on him, because I know absolutely nothing about this guy. One, he learned how to kick via YouTube and Instagram by searching how to kick a field goal. His brother went to Wisconsin, came back, was like, this football game is way better than the grass fairy sport we have here. So he started to kick around a little bit in Germany. In 2023, he joined the European League of Football, played for the Stuttgart Surge, and he went 8 for 10 on field goal attempts and came back in 2024. Then he joined the NFL's International Pathway Player program, and at the International Player Pathway, at the Combine for it, he went 14 for 14 on field goals. He had, as Garofalo pointed out, a couple of suitors. He just signed with the Falcons. I wonder if he just doesn't know how how American free agency works. Maybe he just thought like going alphabetical. All right, first meetings with Atlanta, I sign there. Or he thought Falcon was a badass name. I could see him, a little Third Reich coming out going like Tiger Tanks. Falcon sounds pretty cool. Let's go with that instead.
Well, it says he visited Atlanta. Maybe he just loved the city and was like, I don't care. I'm here.
I'm going to put it at 75% chance that he got some lemon pepper wings from you-know-where and was like, I'm never leaving the city. So, welcome to Atlanta. Younghoe Koo and Lenny Craig have a kicker battle. So, we have that to look forward to, because I don't think I need to elaborate why they are bringing in some kicker competition after the season Koo had a year ago. Now, I want to talk about headset's not cooperating today, so apologies for any popcorn crackling. I want to talk about what I originally planned for today's show before the Craig signing. Some Falcon salary cap news that the team tried to, I don't even know why, slip under the radar, but they eventually announced it themselves. And then I put the Kirk Cousins stuff at the end. I'm over it, you're over it, but I felt like I would be doing all of us a disservice if I did not bring up the latest on Cousins. So let's start with the salary cap news. AJ Terrell and Chris Lindstrom had their contracts restructured. They each freed up $10 million in cap space with these moves. So Atlanta currently sits at a little under $11 million in salary cap space. Now, they cannot go out and just spend $11 million. You have to leave some money in your piggy bank to pay your upcoming draft selections. And those draft selection amounts are determined based on where you are picking. So if you're picking first overall, you got to have more cap space than if you are picking 15th overall. And you got to have, for Atlanta, about $7-ish million in the bank. So these moves were made, in my estimation, to free up cap space for their draft picks more than we're going to go out and make a big splash signing. I do not believe that is why these contract restructured happened. I'm not going to say there's a no % chance of happening. Maybe, but I think it might be more revolving around, hey, we need to pay our... I'm sorry, this is just infuriating. We're going to power through, just bear with me, and I promise I'm going to fix this stupid headset. I believe these contract restructures were done, like I said, for the draft picks. And also, teams like to have some walking around money, right? You don't want to have next to nothing. You want to go into the season with a little bit in case an injury happens and you want to make a midseason signing or a midseason trade. It's nice to have some room to, work with. But if they are looking to make a big splash move, I can only think of two positions it would come at: edge or corner. And here are, I think, the top 5 edge rushers out there and the top 5 corners out there. Depending on when you're watching this is always a fluid thing, so players could get signed by the time I film this and it gets posted. But looking at these two groups right here, from the edge side, the one player that jumps out to me the most is Zadarius Smith. Look at the production he's had the last couple of years, plus look at the availability. He's getting up there in the age column, and he's not slowing down. He has not missed more than a game the past 4 seasons, and some of these games were missed because the team had clinched a playoff spot, and they could rest him in Week 17. So the production, the availability, it speaks for itself, and the need also speaks for itself. I don't believe Atlanta has a ton of faith or trust in Ebiketie to be a 3-down player. So bring in some extra reinforcements, bring in some extra depth opposite of Leonard Floyd, and also give you some more flexibility in the draft. If you fall in love with Will Johnson, Malachi Starks, or Nick Emanwara, and you're like, listen, I know we have to get a pass rusher, but we believe that is all pro talent, then you can draft that guy at 15 and then circle back to edge at round 2 and still have some solid options from free agency. Now, as for the corners, 2 guys jump out to me. Asante Samuel, this is the name that we have talked about on the channel really since like January as a free agent target. I think this would be a very fun signing for the Falcons. I think it'd be a good schematic fit from a zone defense in LA to a zone defense under Raheem Morris in Atlanta. So Samuel's one name. Another name that's more of an actual positional fit is Mike Hilton, because he plays that slot nickel corner spot, and that is vacant right now, unless you believe in Clark Phillips to be this team's nickel corner for the next 17 games or so. I think this could be a very good plug-and-play option right here. Or you bring him in, have him back up Clark Phillips at the nickel position, and if Phillips does not live up to the billing, then you move to a more veteran-proven player. But at least give your younger guy a chance to have that job for the long-term option, and if not, you've got a good security blanket. So I like the idea of bringing in another corner. Also, you just need depth at that position. Show of hands, how much faith do you all have in Natrone Brooks and Keith Taylor? Me, not a ton. And while Hughes and Terrell have not been like injury-plagued players, cornerback is a top 5 position in my eyes, and it can really sink a game. So I'd like to have more depth at that spot. Now, if you had to pick one of these 2 positions to add to right now, which one would it be? Corner or edge? I'll give you my answer in a second, but I don't want to influence you. So scroll on down. Just give me a simple CB or an edge to make it nice and simple. I'm thinking about this through the lens of Jeff Ulbrich, and he has been brought in to fix this defense, and step 1 is fixing the pass rush. I think fixing the pass rush is going to have a nice Reagan economics trickle-down effect. Fixing the corners, well, I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's going to solve the number 1 problem, the lack of a pass rush. And when you look at the, I'll say top 4 pass rushers on this team, right? You could swap out Ellis for like Zach Harrison or something like that, but I think these are your top 4 pass rushers. It's kind of depressing when of your top 4 pass rushers, one's an off-ball linebacker, one's a rotational outside linebacker, one was a backup defensive end last year, and one's 32. Maybe go out and make another addition. Sound like something we can all get on the same page with? So I would target edge before going to corner. While I do like some of those corners, if I had to pick one or the other, I'd pick edge. Now we're going to talk about these headsets. I'm going to snap the cord in half. We're going to talk about, I'm just having a bad day right now. You know that? Quick side quest here. I had to go to the doctor this morning, and I got like blood drawn, and I gave me the heebie-jeebies. And MLB TV is fucking ruining my opening day, and this headset is going to go in the trash in an hour. Subs this month. Subscribe. Let's go fuck the Saints. Moving on. Kirk Cousins. I feel like Indiana Jones in that one scene when Harrison Ford really had to take a dump, so he just pulled out his gun and he shot the guy in the Egyptian market. That's me right now. Kirk Cousins. You ready for this? How about this segue? It all starts with Aaron Rodgers. So, Aaron Rodgers has not signed yet with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there is some level of doubt from Adam Schefter that he may never sign. And if that happens, wow, Atlanta would win the lottery. We're just going to cut that part out right there because it was silent. Here's what Adam Schefter wrote. They both need each other right now, frankly, and that's if Aaron Rodgers wants to play, which I'm not convinced yet that he does. Until I hear him say, I want to play, then I can tell you people are asking that question about whether he wants to play. We are speculating, but it shouldn't be that hard. Like, you want to play for the Steelers or you don't? What are we waiting for? I still think Rodgers is going to play for Pittsburgh. I think we might be seeing an episode of Rodgers versus Schefter play out here since the two don't have the greatest relationship. But make no mistake, this is an ideal situation for Atlanta. In a perfect world, you have the Steelers and, say, the Browns fighting with one another, going at each other in a bidding war for Kirk Cousins because both teams are looking for a quarterback. At this moment, it feels like just Cleveland is still looking for a quarterback. But if the Steelers join that race, you're going to have a bidding war, and that's going to drive the price up. And now Atlanta could actually get a third-round pick, a fourth-round pick for Kirk Cousins, because if the Browns call it and say, well, I'll give you a fifth, Falcons go to Pittsburgh and say, hey, Cleveland's offering a fifth, give us a fourth and he's yours. They go, fine, we'll give you a fourth. And then they go back to Cleveland and say, Pittsburgh's giving us a fourth. Do you really want Kirk Cousins to play for your rival? It'll cost you a third now. This is the gamble that Terry Fontenot made when he took on a $10 million roster bonus. The only way right now this blows up in Fontenot's face is if no one ever calls for Kirk and the season gets here, and deep down, Fontenot and Raheem Morris do not want Kirk Cousins as this team's backup since he has been so public about not wanting to be a backup quarterback. Before we get out of here and I throw this headset out, make sure you check out this awesome deal going on over at Fanatics. You can find some sideline gear, some hats, some t-shirts, jerseys, 35% off, chatsports.com/ATL sale. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. Okay, that is going to do it for us on today's episode. Really appreciate everyone's patience in dealing with some of the technological and sound issues. I promise to get straightened out here. So thank you for everyone tuning in and bearing with us. We are going to sign off, and we'll see everyone later. Yeah, I would. You're right. Let's just do that. No, I know. I'm all right. Sorry about that, everyone. I'm just. I didn't even have a bad visit at the doctor's office. I just had not gone to a doctor's office for like a physical for 10 years. It's like senior year of high school, and I was like, I'm probably due for one. So now I'm just anxious to see. I got my blood work done for the first time ever, so I'm curious to see what's going to come back. But enough about me. Jason, corner edge or headphones? Right now I'm taking headphones. I'm not going to lie. I'm taking headphones. Bijan Robinson, I like that. What is the percentage chance that we actually pull off a Kirk trade? I'll answer that in our mailbag. Who did you snag? Oh, okay, great. No, he's not. All right. Quick call to the bullpen, so just give me a moment, everyone.
Time Man's here. What's up, Time Man? Yeah, Jason Greenway. We're bringing the lefty in. Bringing a new I think looking at him, he's an old vet. It's a Justin Verlander out there, but I think he's very, he'll throw some strikes. But, oh, there, we need some Cialis. Let's see. Moment of truth.
I'm in. Can we hear me? Okay. If I hear any kind of popcorn in my ear, I might just end the live. Just go. We're going to call it.
Well, this is good, though, because we're using this as like this is like when you really are calling in the bullpen, and it's, okay, is it the pitcher or is it the pitching staff?
True. So let's get back on track here because I have wasted enough of your guys' precious time. Willie M. has Ryan Uziel signed anywhere yet? He was given a tender by the Falcons, so he is on the Falcons roster. Another team could try and sign him, but Atlanta can match that offer. So for now, let's just say for the sake of simplicity, he is on the Falcons roster, and he is your starting center.
That's a sore subject, Ty Man. Don't talk about that.
Ty Man? Yeah, don't bring up opening day right now. Okay, let's jump into our next segment, which is a mock draft reaction. ESPN dropped a 7-round mock draft today, and the guy they took for Atlanta was dubbed a you know what? I'll just let you find out in the video. In the mock draft? Well, we're going to go through all their picks, Atlanta. Yeah, we built that. We looked at it. Yeah. Mac Sauce. I know, but you built the other ones. Have you looked up Deion Walker from Kentucky? Yeah, the guy is. Well, first off, speaking of Deion, yeah, that one. How about what's the guy's name from Florida who's like 460 pounds? He had quite the pro day today. So I think he jumped 25 inches. That's some velocity. That's air. That's a lot of. That's 460. That's getting up there. Okay, Michael Hyde, we talked about Kirk a little bit. The update with Kirk is that Aaron Rodgers may not sign with the Steelers, and if that happens, that could create a bidding war between Pittsburgh and Cleveland for Kirk Cousins, which would be ideal for Atlanta. All right, let's jump into the mock draft because, and I've said this before, but I'll reiterate it right now. I love the NFL draft. It's one of my favorite non-sporting events, sporting events. It's not an actual game. You know what I mean? Like, it's like bracket, like.
It's so much fun.
Sunday when bracket reveal for March Madness. Like, there are some great days in the sports. Yeah, Selection Sunday. Thank you. There are some great days in the sports calendar that do not have a ball going into the net or moving at all. And the draft is number one for me. The only thing about the draft now is everyone's their own GM. And I don't dislike this ability, but it's so accessible for everyone to do a mock draft that I feel like it's actually watered down mock drafts because you can't go anywhere in the month of March and April without running into someone's mock draft. And I feel that 10 years ago, they didn't come out as frequently. So it was fun waiting for the new mock draft to come out, right? I remember in high school, like refreshing every single day when I went home. Is there a new mock draft up on Bleacher Report or Walter Football? And now there's just mock drafts everywhere. So I've kind of pulled back on doing my own mock draft since everyone does a mock draft and no one's mock draft is ever correct. So I've also just noticed that the interest has gone down as a result of this. Do I sound okay? This headset is so janky. Stanky, janky, it's everything. All right, I'm ready whenever you are. Here we go. Welcome on into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, running through ESPN's 7-round mock draft. We're going to look at all 5 selections for Atlanta. So let's start, obviously, in round number 1, and we will just claw our way to pick number 15. Coming in at number 1, it is Cam Ward to the Tennessee Titans. Then the Browns select Abdul Carter. Giants goes to Shedeur Sanders. His teammate goes to New England. and the Jags take Mason Graham. This has been a very common mock draft top 5. The Raiders go with Tet McMillan. I don't think he's going to go even top 15, to be honest with you. Armand Membo goes to the Jets at 7. Jalen Walker is a name that I've really become attached to. He goes within the division to the Panthers. Jahdae Barron, I don't think he's going top 10. He goes to the Saints. Ashton Genty falls to the Bears at 10. Will Johnson, a player that we have had circled on this channel, is a Niner. Tyler Warren goes to the Boys. Will Campbell, the new left tackle possibly for Miami. Colston Loveland, 2 tight ends within the top 14, goes to Indy. And with the 15th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Jahad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama. We have talked about nearly every single defender that's been mocked in round 1 this offseason. Campbell, we have not spent a ton of time on because I view him as a traditional off-ball linebacker at the NFL. Now, for the Crimson Tide, he moved around the defense. If I have any Alabama fans watching right now, I think you'll agree with me when I say he was just the best player on Alabama's defense last year. He was a versatile chess piece for them. I won't go as far to say like Jalen Walker level versatility from Georgia, but he did move around that defense for the Crimson Tide. 117 tackles to lead the team, 12 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 20 pressures. He was a playmaker for them. He found himself in the thick of the action a ton. Now, he really only has 1 true season as a starter under his belt. Kind of got into that snap count in 2023. At Bama, I don't hold that against you if you're not a 2 or 3 year starter because we know how talented that roster is, and it's not easy for freshmen or sophomores to just walk in and start with how loaded every single recruiting class is for Bama. Now, some pros and cons on Campbell. He's a consistent tackler, very few missed tackles, so that's going to be a nice sigh of relief for a coach drafting him. I don't think he really stands out in any specific area. When I think of a linebacker going in round 1, that player has to really pop because you don't see linebackers go round 1 or safeties or running backs all too often. So if he's going to be a round 1 pick, there's got to be something about his game that no one else in this draft class has or shares, or arguably even in like recent draft classes. You know what I mean? I can't find that in Campbell. If I'm missing it, point it out to me. But I can't seem to put my finger on, hey, that's something that Campbell does that no one's even in the same zip code of him. Now, he's a well-rounded linebacker. He can stop the run. He can get after the quarterback as well. He's not perfect. I don't think this is one of the best linebacker prospects where you really just can't seem to come up with a flaw. No, every once in a while he may, find himself getting swallowed up by a lineman. He can't shed blockers super duper well. Maybe his eyes kind of play tricks on him. But overall, he is a very good football player. 15th overall good? I don't think so. Now, here's what Matt Miller from ESPN had to say on this selection. Campbell is exactly that, a versatile player who has scouts torn when discussing his ultimate position. He is a top-tier off-ball linebacker, but has untapped pass rush potential that could define his NFL career. Every NFL team is trying to find the next Micah Parsons, and there's hope Campbell could be that as a 3-4 outside linebacker. Timeout. I just flat out disagree. When I saw that, my first thought was, is he confusing Campbell with Jalen Walker? Because that is a player that I have seen discussed as a tweener, as someone who they don't know if it's going to be an edge rusher or a linebacker. I have not seen much chatter or conversation around Campbell being an outside linebacker versus what he played at Alabama. Now, he has some experience. I think he, in high school, played outside linebacker, then made the transition in college. I know he did that at times for Alabama last year, but when I watch him play, I don't walk away from that film review, if you will, and that's probably giving him too much credit, thinking, hey, that's someone who I think could really line up on the outside. It could be the next Micah Parsons. You want the next Micah? I think it's someone who went to his college, Abdul Carter, who played off-ball linebacker and then played defensive end for 1 year at Penn State, his last season. That's the next Micah Parsons in my eyes, not Campbell. Now, how would you grade a Jahad Campbell selection? If that's the pick, what's going to be like the instant reaction, right? Roger walks out there, and he goes, with the 15th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Jahad Campbell, linebacker, Alabama. What's it going to be? Like A, B, C, D, or F? I'd give it a C+. It's hard to say without knowing who goes 1 through 14, but I'm going to safely assume that they would have passed on players I would have preferred.
It's hard not to go lower than a C when they really need pass rushers.
Yeah. Let's move on to 16 through 20. We'll kind of round out the first round in case you were wondering, like, hey, I wanted Mike Green. Where did he go? Well, he went to the very next pick, the Arizona Cardinals. Eamon Warry, another target, goes to the Bengals. Golden, Malachi Starks, and Luther Burden follow suit. Then you got a corner going to Pittsburgh. The Chargers take a running back. Packers add to their O-line. We got the Vikings adding to their corners. Josh Simmons goes to protect C.J. Stroud. Jackson Dart, number 26 overall to the Chargers. I don't think he's going to go first round. Derek Harmon going to the Oregon Ducks. I think he's going to be a good player. Gray Zabel, an interior offensive lineman. He will be a Detroit Lion in this mock. Shamir Stewart, one of the best pure athletes pound for pound in this class, falls to 29. And then we have the Bills selecting Trey Amos, followed by Michael Williams out of UGA to the Chiefs. And finally, the Eagles replace Josh Sweat with a new pass rusher out of Boston College. So that's the first round of the mock draft. We're not going to go pick by pick for rounds 2 through 7. Instead, we'll just look at the remaining selections for Atlanta because I had a feeling no one wants to go through all painstakingly 257 picks. So coming in round number 2, it is Alfred Collins, defensive tackle out of Texas. I could see this one happening. If you're wondering, hey, what's the possibility of this one? I think decently high, actually. He is a huge human being. 6'6", 332 pounds. Now, he did not become a full-time starter for the Longhorns until this past year, his 5th season with Texas. There's a fair reason for that. Tavondre Sweat, second-round pick out of Tennessee, last year, he started a year ago. And then the Seahawks first-round pick, who I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, he was a first-rounder a year ago as well. So 2 Texas Longhorns on the defensive line were drafted within the first 50 picks of last year. It's tough for someone like Alfred Collins to break through that ice. But what he does, bring to the table is extreme size. And I'm not going to say he's like the best athlete we've ever seen from a defensive lineman, but he's got a rare combination of 6'6", 332, and he moves like a bear in a ballet class. Like, he can move those feet for that size. He is going to be a nose tackle, 2 technique at best. You are not drafting him to get to the quarterback. You are drafting him to be a moving tree stump. Someone who's going to eat up the center and the guard and let Jahad Campbell get into the backfield and sack the quarterback. So I can get on board with this, especially after moving on from Grady Jarrett. There's a need at defensive tackle. However, one could argue you don't need a defensive tackle. You've got 2 rookies from last year ready to take on a bigger, workload in year number 2 in Rook and in Brandon Dorless. Zach Harrison going into year 3. So it's not like they haven't added to the trenches in previous drafts already, but I could see them adding more interior defensive linemen, especially because this defensive tackle class is loaded. Here's a bad Colin Cowherd analogy. Ready for this? If you were flying to Italy and you had pizza at the airport, would you not have pizza in Italy? No, you'd have plenty of pizza in Italy because you're in Italy, right? Just because you had a slice on your flight doesn't mean you're not going to have any pizza moving forward while you're in Italy. Just because you recently added a defensive lineman in the draft doesn't mean you're not going to do that in this draft when the draft is loaded at defensive tackles. That's my great Colin Cowherd analogy for the day. Okay, before we move on to the rest of the mock draft, today's show made possible thanks to our friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Let me give you an example of what Prize Picks look like. You can take some season-long stat projections here, so that way you have a little bit more interest for all 162 games and not just every so often. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. All of that information is in the comments and description of today's video. Check them out. Download the Prize Picks app today and use that code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. No third-round pick for Atlanta. That belongs to New England. So in round 4, ESPN went back-to-back Longhorns, going with Barron Sorrell. So let's discuss the edge rusher out of Texas as a third straight defender goes to Atlanta. So Barron, 6'3", 256 pounds. He is not the greatest athlete in the world, and that's why he's looked at as a day 3 pick. But man, does he compensate for maybe the lack of, and I always hate this when it comes to the draft, these guys are all tremendous athletes. It's just some are more gifted than others. But you're not getting this far without being fast and strong. Just some are faster and stronger. But he was a 3-star recruit that ended up becoming a permanent fixture in this Texas defense. So if you are looking for a high work ethic, IQ, relentless motor type of player, he's your man. And what I like about this selection is you're going to find an edge rusher in round 4 who looks forward to stopping the run. Edge rushers in the NFL know their paychecks or their future paycheck will be a result of their sacks. So a lot of times, I won't say they take plays off, but they are looking to get to the quarterback. The run is not the biggest priority. That's not an issue with Sorrell. If you're looking for someone who's going to go out there and first down and go, I would rather tackle the running back for a loss than sack the quarterback, he might be your guy. Now, he's going to get to the quarterback too, but I really like this selection for round 4 for adding once more to the front 5 for Atlanta and bringing in some quality run-stopping efforts from the outside. Now, before we look at the final 2 selections, which are both in round 7, do you think Atlanta should just take 5 defenders in the draft? If they don't add any more draft picks, should they just go defense 1 through 5? Give me a yes or give me a no in the comment section below. Moving on to the 2 7th-round selections that they have in this year's draft, the folks in Bristol went with 2 offensive linemen. So you've got Eli Cox and Marcus Tate. I'll be honest, I do not know a lot about these guys, but I did do some homework on them. Here's what I can tell you about Cox. 4-year starter at center and guard for the Wildcats. He dominated more so in run blocking than pass blocking. Now, Tate, also a 4-year starter at left guard for the Tigers. 2nd team All-ACC last year. The reason why he is not going earlier in the draft, despite being a 4-year starter and a 2nd team All-ACC player, he's had a lot of injuries in his career. In fact, he has had 3 straight seasons cut short due to injuries. So if teams can get past the injury and health factor, he could be a really nice pick for round 7. And the offensive line for Atlanta, I think it could use some, reinvestment into it, because it's always a good idea to invest in the trenches. And I would not be opposed to bringing in some more competition for either starting center or just backup center in general. All right. That's going to do it for us. I got a new headset because the old one was broken. And this one, look at this thing. Watch the fall. Look at the blue pill this thing needs to stay up. Ridiculous. So now I got to hang out like this. Okay. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We're going to sign off. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see everyone later. I'm done bitching. But this is unbelievable. Okay. Should Atlanta pick 5 defenders? What do you think, Reed?
I kind of agree.
Yeah, I talked about this.
What is? Sorry to cut you off, but what is like the offensive need?
I think you can always find good linemen. I don't think that's ever a bad idea, right?
I agree.
Like, what happens if Ryan Newsel goes down? He was your backup center. Not the worst thing in the world to have a little bit more competition at center, right?
But
Javon Gwynn, maybe. He was a 7th rounder from South Carolina.
I don't hate that when I mean, I think that it should be maybe two defenders and then one offensive lineman, because the defensive side in this draft class right now is loaded.
Yeah.
Either if it's on like corner, safety, edge rusher, it's loaded. And then also the offensive linemen are pretty good too, but I think you got to take advantage of how deep this draft class is on the defensive end.
The only position I could really see Atlanta being drawn to is, I'll add 2. Tight end. It's a very good tight end class, and if they don't feel like Kyle Pitts is a long-term piece for them, then they may decide, hey, we didn't expect this tight end to be here in round 4. We're going to take him. One other one is wide receiver. I only say that because teams love finding receivers in the draft because they're so much cheaper than finding them in free agency, and the price of receivers is skyrocketing. So if there's a receiver that a team loves, they may just say, we're going best player available, which you can't be mad if a team goes best player available and you are a best player available type of person. All right, are we ready for our mailbag? We got to get some questions in. So use hashtag Falcons or Super Chat. Looking for our first Super Chat of the day. So if you would like to be on screen for a fact, Super Chat, and you skip the line and Reed throws you on for everyone watching to see, I got to hold the headset for the rest of the video like this. Yeah. I mean, look at this. Ready? Watch the audio drop off. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm talking to no one right now. Look at it. You ever seen the movie 43? You know that first scene when it's Kate Winslet and Hugh Grant, and he's got the balls on his chin? You know what I'm talking about? Isn't that? No, what's his name? Hugh Jackman. Oh, God forbid I get the wrong British Hugh. Oh, I think Hugh Jackman's Australian. Okay, wrong British prisoner. Hugh Jackman. Like, I feel like I have a mouth down here.
Yeah.
Because this is what the microphone's for.
Well, see if you can't move it up a little bit. Like that, yeah. How about that?
Look at this. This is unbelievable. No.
Do you want to hold it the whole time?
I have no other recourse.
You just do that.
It falls.
No, but just on the top, like, go up. Yeah.
Look at this, Reed. It looks ridiculous.
Do you want me to grab somebody else?
No. We're in too deep. Show goes on. Let's go. I'm not going through a third headset. I don't know how Moose operates like this. Yeah. Okay. I straighten out this a little bit. I might have something here. I'm going to keep it as is. Damon, you can't put a space between hashtag and Falcons. Delete that space. That way our software can find your question and throw it on screen. Okay. Although I don't think his question's all that serious. Matthew Petey fan. Petey, what's your favorite movie? Good question. We need some more questions, so get your hashtag. I'm going to call Willie, I want a question from you, and Trey get a question as well. Carson got a question in. I'll answer Matthew Petey fan's question. My favorite movie, obviously, like everyone's always got a few favorites, but the ones that I love rewatching, which I think is like the best way to measure how much you like the movie.
How often do you rewatch?
Miracle on Ice is my all-time favorite sports movie, and it might just be my favorite movie, period. I love Step Brothers. I can quote Step Brothers start to finish. Yeah, Cops is on. I know you're lying because Cops doesn't start till 4.
Cops doesn't start till 4.
Mom, I'm watching the thing with the lady. Those two movies, from a comedy standpoint and a drama standpoint, separate themselves from the rest. I wouldn't say I'm drawing a blank because I know my own favorite movies, but those are the two that I do love the most. Michael with the question. I got Duo with the question along with Trey.
So I'll ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the beginning of the movie when Brennan is making
nachos in the microwave,
In the
which I did
microwave.
not. Middle
you
school me was
ever made that?
fascinated. No,
That's a poor man's nachos right
I
there.
know.
That is Home Alone by yourself.
Yeah.
Mom is out doing whatever. Dad's at work.
Mm-hmm.
You're home from school. What can I eat? You get the shredded cheese. Get the tortilla chips.
Yeah.
Throw it in the microwave. Easy.
All right, let's talk about whatever you want to talk about. I was about to say the topic. I was like, I actually don't even know the topic because you're in charge. Captain Phil. Favorite war movie? I love historical films. Patriots badass. I rewatch that every 4th of July. That gets the American red blood going. World War II, obviously you got the classic and Saving Private Ryan. I'll say an under the radar good World War II movie, and I realize I'm answering this question that no one really asked, is Behind Enemy Gates with Jude Law. It's about the Battle of Stalingrad, and it's a Soviet sniper and a German sniper having a cat and mouse game. Very good movie. All right, let's do this thing. Let's talk about, although I don't know if I can bring that up anymore, that movie with our new kicker. Yeah. DJ Ray with a $5 super chat. Oh, I played with it and I broke it. Okay, keep it still, Matthew. All right. I love this Crockett. Are y'all high? No way we drafting Campbell. I don't know why I'm responsible. I don't know why I'm responsible for Matt Miller's mock draft.
I was going to say, I don't know if I can trust him because he has the Chargers taking
Jackson Dart.
What are we doing?
Was it the Chargers?
It was the Chargers.
Was that not a mistake?
No.
No way. I completely glossed over that. I was more focused on having him go in round 1. I know, but I want to make sure it's right. But is it really the Chargers? Okay. I need to do a quick deep dive on this.
I was like,
it's not the Chargers, it's the Rams.
Oh,
Tex is an idiot.
Tex is an idiot.
I'm sorry. We'll fix that.
Yeah.
He is, in fact, an idiot. I was like, that can't be right.
I thought it was so crazy, and then you glossed over it too, and I was like, see, here at Chat Sports, it's a group effort to make sure we have a bunch of graphics to use, and when people come out with mock drafts like this, any of the producers will build it. I built the last one for everyone to use.
From now on, you have to make all of them. I'm sorry to put that on you, and I say that as a compliment because I can't trust anyone else.
Yeah. So I didn't make that graphic for everyone watching.
Here we go. I'm just gonna hold it because I'm tired of this. Yeah. What's going on, everyone? It is mailbag time here on Falcons Today. I have to hold my headset because if I don't hold it, this thing can't stay up for more than 5 minutes like a 70-year-old man. And I'm on my second headset of the day, so just bear with me. We're going to power through this mailbag as I awkwardly hold the microphone next to my mouth so it does not fall down. Robert Kelly. Petey, I know that your favorite pick is cornerback. Got a lot going on. Will Johnson, if you select him, where do you play him? Outside and move Hughes to the slot? Okay, so basically what Robert's asking is if you select Michigan cornerback Will Johnson, where does he play? He is an outside corner. He is a man-on-man, I'm going to be a kangaroo and box you from the moment that ball is snapped and the whistle is blown. He wants to be physical. He wants to play outside. He is an outside corner. So Mike Hughes could either kick inside, which I'm not going to pretend to know how well Hughes would play inside. I'm willing to have faith that, hey, someone that you're giving $9.8 million to should have some versatility to their game and be able to play nickel if needed. Willie M., what do you think about Gunnar Helm round 2? Too early, and I don't think Atlanta should go tight end in round 2. I only think Atlanta should go tight end is if in round 4, someone like Gunnar Helm, who they thought would be a round 2 to 3 guy, is there, and internally they have next to none faith in bringing back Pitts. Willie, thank you for your question. ZD Productions. So maybe I wasn't lying about us cutting Koo, huh? All I wanted was a new kicker this offseason, Petey. Yeah, Atlanta brought in a German kicker, Lenny Craig, international pathway player or player pathway. He went 14 for 14 at the International Combine. He had a handful of meetings set up, and he just signed with Atlanta. Just first meeting is like, I'm done. Maybe theory, I've had a couple theories as to why he did not go visit with his other teams. Maybe he just has a fear of flying, and he's like, I'm just never going to leave here again. Once he learned how vast America is, I always hate when Europeans try to make fun of Americans. Like, you don't travel enough. Like, yeah, because do you know how far New York and LA are? That's like going from Paris to Moscow. So back off. ZD, thank you for the question, though. Jordan, we obviously need more pass rush help, likely from the draft. But how much do you believe in Braylon Trice to make an impact in his rookie season? Hey, Jordan, that's a great question because there is, I think, a lot of faith being placed in Braylon Trice's stock from this coaching staff to look and play like a third-round draft pick. I don't have a ton of faith, and we talked about this from a historical standpoint. You know I love my history. And let's say this is Braylon Trice's rookie year. There are very few round 3 edges who in their rookie season had more than 5 sacks. So I would expect Braylon Trice to crank out 4 or 5 sacks max. Jordan, appreciate your question. Very, very thoughtful. Bijan Robinson, what is the percentage chance that we actually pull off a Kirk trade? I'm going to put it at 85. I feel that the Browns are going to call coming. They're going to come a running. And some team in training camp is going to need a quarterback. So I'll put it at 85%. Dijon, thank you very much for the question. Jason, watch this. Ready? Just false. I'm talking to no one. Do you think that the Falcons are going to use Javon Gwynn as a backup center? I think he did that earlier in his football career, rise up from sunny San Diego. Jason, I agree. I do believe that the former 7th-round pick from South Carolina is going to be the backup center for Ryan Newsel, who takes over from Drew Dahlman. Appreciate your question, Jason. Very good thought as well. We've got another question coming in from a Seahawks fan, Michael Hyde. Sell me on it, Petey. Why would the Browns get another overpaid old quarterback in Kirk Cousins when they're still paying Deshaun Watson? Good question, Michael, and let me tell you why. One, they're not paying Kirk Cousins what you think they're going to end up paying him. Kirk Cousins has $37.5 million in cash owed to him this year. He's getting that money from somebody. If the Browns or any other team for that matter trade for Kirk Cousins, there is a 99.999999% chance, I sound like Lenny Craig, 9% chance that the team that acquires Kirk is going to split that salary with Atlanta. And also, they will have a new reworked contract. They will tell Kirk, we would like to trade for you. You have a no trade clause, so you do have to remove that from the equation, but we're not going to take on 3 more years of Kirk Cousins. That's just not in the cards here. So when you get here, we're going to have a new contract worked out for you. And that's not uncommon. Last year, Stephon Diggs got to Houston. One of the first things he did was rip up his old deal and make it a 1-year contract. Deebo Samuel gets to Washington. One of the first things they do is make it a 1-year contract. This happens frequently with players that get traded. So I don't want you to think, why are they going to pay 2 veteran quarterbacks huge amounts? They're not. They're going to pay Kirk something for sure, but they're not paying him, I think, what you're thinking. Before we move on to the other questions on today's show, over at Fanatics, the sale continues. The sideline gear, 35% off, a whole lot more, t-shirts, polos, jerseys, chatsports.com/ATL sale. I put that link for you all in the comments and description of today's video. Nicholas Wolf, we free up $12 million in cap space till we have a couple more moves in us. You got to have $7 million in the bank to pay your draft picks. So put that money to the side for a moment. that gives you $5-ish million. You could sign someone. Like, you could sign, say, Zadarius Smith or Von Miller and have room to breathe, but not a lot. I think those restructures were done to make it easier to pay your draft picks. And also, teams like to go into the season with a decent amount of, spending cash, some walking around money in case an injury happens and they want to sign someone. Worst case scenario, they roll it over to the next year. So I don't think those restructures were done to make a big splashy move. I think it was for the draft picks and for a little bit more breathing room. Duo, do you think the Falcons should fire Raheem if we don't go 9-8 or higher? Well, let's just assume everyone's healthy, because if someone gets injured, then that's going to give the coach a little bit of a pass. If everyone's healthy, like say similar to last year, right, and you have of your 22 week 1 starters, week 18 gets here and 20 are out there, and you finish the year 8-9, I could see Arthur Blank giving him one more shot. Arthur Smith got a second chance or a third chance after back-to-back 7 and 10 seasons, but he was working with a lot less. So that feels like a coin flip. My gut would tell me Arthur Blank would stay loyal for another year. That's somewhat been his tendency. Arthur Smith got 3. Dan Quinn got obviously more than 2 for the way they start, or after the start they got. But yeah, I'm going to say no. He will not get fired if they don't go 9-8 or higher, unless they really bottom out, right? I'm talking no more than 6 wins. DJ Ray, who would be your top pick if the Falcons get a tight end and wide receiver? My favorite receiver in this class is Matthew Golden out of Texas. Started off at Houston, transferred to Austin, and I think he can play all over the offense. You can use him at X, Y, and Z. I love the versatility. He can play in the slot, but he can play a lot bigger than that. So that would be my preferred choice for any team looking for a receiver. I like Golden a lot, and I think that could complement outside receivers in Darnell Mooney and Drake London quite nicely. As for tight end, I mean, I wouldn't expect them to go with Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland, but I think both those guys are going to have very good NFL careers. So later on in the draft, Harold Fannin, very good yards after contact. He is just tough to bring down. Bowling Green State tight end. Carson, what are your center targets in round 4? Okay, thank you. Sorry. Center targets in round 4. Why am I drawing a blank? I wouldn't mind Tate Ratledge from Georgia. Guards and centers can get moved around a lot when they get to the pros. I think he's a fantastic guard for UGA. I think that could be a very good move for the Falcons. So, get a Georgia player. It's not a very good center class, to be honest with you. There's no one talked about going round 1. Very few guys even talked about going round 2. So, if you're looking for a new starting center, not a good time to turn to the draft to find one. Another question coming in here. Trey, are we expecting any mid-size moves soon? Probably not. Probably not. The only way I could see that happening is if players remain free agents longer than expected, and the Falcons go, hey, we never really poked this one or went down that rabbit hole because we didn't believe you'd ever be affordable to us. But here we are in the middle of April and no one signed you yet. And we're looking at our draft board and we really want a new nickel corner. And there's just no one on our draft board that we like when we were going to be on the clock roughly. So let's bring you in. But I don't expect them to give out a contract north of $10 million total to any player. Robert Walker, do you think we will trade back for another pick? I think you're going to have a tough time finding someone that wants to trade up. Every single draft, there are 32 players that go round 1. That does not mean all 32 players are viewed as first-round talent. Typically, there are 20 players that get round 1 grades. This year's draft is probably closer to 15. So with Atlanta picking at 15, is there really a team that's going to want to trade future draft picks? Say, give up their second-round pick to move up and pick a player that teams look at as a second-round guy. You're using 2 second-rounders for 1 second-round talent. Does that make some sense? You're giving up your second in this year's draft to trade up to get someone who's looked at as a second-round type of player. So I'd say you have a tough time finding someone that is going to shake the tree to see if they can find the 15th overall pick. Yoga Buddies, who is your second rounder? I saw the mock. Who is the pick all Falcons fans should want? Yoga, great question. I really like both the Texas DBs. Jahdae Barron and why am I drawing a blank on the other corner right now, despite him being my pick? I got to look it up. Makuba, the safety. Andrew Makuba. Sorry, both the names are kind of unique-ish. I like both those players. I like both those players because they both offer a ton of versatility. And I think with the rising role of nickel, because offenses play more 3-receiver sets than ever before. So defenses respond by predominantly only playing 2 linebackers and 3 safeties. So I think Makuba and Barron can bring a lot of versatility to your secondary, and that is very valuable to me for round number 2. Now, some people think Barron's going to be a round 1 lock. I'm not so convinced about him being a lock to go round 1, but I like both those Texas DBs, Jahdae Barron and Andrew Makuba, for round 2, Yoga. So cool 2025. If Kyle Pitts is still on the trade block, what would a trade package look like and what teams would be calling? I think you could get, it'd be a little dependent on how much of that 5th-year option Atlanta is willing to eat. If the Falcons tell another team, hey, we're not going to split this $10.8 million bill with you, you take it all, then a team goes, fine, then we're only going to give you a 4th-round draft pick. If the Falcons say, hey, we'll split his salary for you, they'll go, all right, if it's only going to cost us $5 million this year, then we'll give you a 3rd-round draft pick. So it'll be dependent on how much money Atlanta is willing to eat. I think they'd be willing to eat a good amount of it. That's never really been an issue for Arthur Blank. So I'd put it around a 3rd to a 4th. As for what teams could be calling, after free agency, a lot of holes have been filled. The Bengals brought back Mike Gesicki. The Broncos signed Evan Ingram. Those were 2 big tight end needy teams. One team, what about the Chiefs? What if they're like, you know what, we just want to get Travis Kelce's replacement right now? It could be Kelce's last year, and then they bring Pitts in, and then they just go right from Kelce to Pitts, and they don't skip a beat.
You don't think they like Christian Watson enough?
They might like him enough. But that's one team that comes to mind since the first 2 obvious candidates are no longer available. Travis, last question. Petey, looks like you dropped some LBs. What's your secret? Travis just became my favorite viewer. Favorite. I was going off the last question. Secret. Secret is it's 95% diet. I don't exercise much at all. I'm not going to the gym for an hour. I'll walk to work 3 times a week. But the secret is I have a lot of protein and not just meat, but predominantly vegetables, which sucks. I'm not going to try and say it's fun. But I eat like a rabbit, a lot of lettuce, a lot of cucumbers, broccoli, and cauliflower. And that's usually my lunch with a little bit of chicken for lunch and the same meal again for dinner. So it's a ton of protein, and most of that protein is vegetables. No alcohol, no sugar, no carbs. The first 2 weeks, miserable. After that, your body starts to get used to it, and it's not as miserable. But appreciate the question, Travis, or the kind words. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day. I can't wait to get a new headset so I do not have to hold this for another video ever again. And I'll catch up with all of you later. Archangel, let's get your question on screen, muchacho.
So there are a couple questions that came in after, but I can't have the mailbag video being super long, but we'll answer them now.
Will it be easier to trade back in the 2nd round, and could you still find good value late 2nd round and within the 3rd round? The NFL draft is such a crapshoot when it comes to trades.
Especially this year.
It's just borderline impossible to predict it because, like, the Falcons might go into round 2 having no interest in trading back. But there's 31 other teams out there, and all it takes is for one to go, we are going to move heaven and earth to get this guy in round 2. We'll give you an offer you can't refuse. And then Atlanta goes, well, we didn't expect to get 2 seconds and a 3rd. So, yeah, we'll move back now. But going in, the GM could kiss his wife goodbye, and the wife could say, honey, are we trading back? And he goes, no, of course not. And he comes home, he's a liar, but he's like, I didn't want to trade back, but the Chargers really wanted this guy, and we couldn't say no to that offer. It's very difficult to predict trades in the draft.
I also think you don't – I don't know if this is a dark horse, but I feel like the Eagles all of a sudden are just going to be like, yep, boom, boom, boom,
The Eagles
boom.
traded 8 times in the NFL draft last year. That was an NFL record. ZD wants me to answer. Oh, Trucker Mike is here. Let's play the game. Trucker Mike, what is Damon's question? What's Damon's question? All right, let's find Damon's question. I'm looking. I don't see it. I'm scrolling, and I'm not seeing it. By the way, DJ Ray, thank you again for the super chat. I didn't give you a big enough shout-out earlier. I don't see Damon's question. Damon, can you toss it back in, please? In the meantime, while Damon's doing that, let's guess what state Trucker Mike is in. Trucker Mike is our channel trucker. He is on the road when we are live every Thursday afternoon, and we like to try and predict what state he is driving through. I'm going to say that Trucker Mike is in, I think he was in Tennessee last week. I'll go with Missouri today. Give me Missouri. Oh, did my headset come with 2 big black ears? Is that am I dumb? I don't get the joke. I think it's a joke. It's definitely a joke. I don't get the joke. I'm not a fan of the headsets, but I'm a foot soldier.
Willie, during the mailbag, Willie thought we skipped him, but he was actually like the second or third question with Gunnar Helm.
Oh, Willie, silly caboose. Okay, let's find out where Trucker Mike is, and then we can send you guys on your way this Thursday evening. I'm going with, what did I say? Missouri. Give me Missouri. Trucker Mike, let me know where you are watching. Trucker Mike, come on. Give us an answer.
I'm
Trucker
also
Mike.
I know he hasn't answered yet. I am going with, I really wanted to be this, North Carolina.
I like the guess. I'm going with Missouri.
Ark, his second. Ark, your second is North Carolina. Troy,
Alabama.
Okay.
I was thinking Bama. Damn it. All right, Trucker Mike, thank you very, very much for indulging us. I think that's going to do it for us. What's the score of Braves-Padres? Braves over the Padres 4-3. Does MLB TV work? Let's find out. I'm going to rage quit if it's still not working. I don't expect it. I learned 2 things today, by the way.
We're idiots. It's Mickey Mouse headset.
Now it wants me. I've already subscribed. Here we go. Ready? Is MLB TV working? It is working.
Hey!
There we go. All right. I'm not so mad at you guys anymore.
What he was saying, Mickey Mouse headset.
Oh.
That the headset sucks.
I should have gotten that. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
By the way, as I was rage tweeting at MLB TV today, because their last tweet was 5 hours ago promoting their free game of the day, and the replies are filled with "figure it out." Free game of the day is Mariners A's. Okay, whatever. I clicked on the A's. Did you guys realize or know the A's Twitter has had replies turned off forever since they announced the move? You cannot reply to any A's tweets still to this day. I scroll back for weeks. They just permanently turned off the ability to reply because fans, I guess, are still going to express outrage over the move. By the way, my hot sports take, and I don't even think it's that hot, the A's are going to snowball into a complete dumpster fire, and Vegas does not get done for another 5 years minimum. I think they play in Sacramento for half a decade. They haven't put a shovel in the ground in Las Vegas. And it has to be a dome because it's so hot in the summer. And domes take an extra year to a construction project. So, at minimum, if they started today, 3 years, which would be 4 seasons in Sacramento. Idiots. All right, that will do it for us. Thank you all so much for watching. Really appreciate every single one of you for tuning in kind of during that lull between free agency and the draft. When the draft gets closer, we're going to have 300 people watching with us, but my favorite people will be the ones like you that are hanging out with us during the slower portion of the offseason.